When a ghost from Asgard's past seeks to seed death and destruction across the universe, it'll be up to Jane Foster and King Thor to stop them. All this and more in the pages of Valkyrie Jane Foster, issue number 9. Let's hop on in together, shall we? So, picking up from where the last issue left off, we were introduced to the idea of the Røkkva, basically the ancient Norse concept of anti-life. Some god had disturbed the ancient resting place of an old Asgardian king, and in doing so had woken up the Røkkva once again. We didn't know who that was, but here, as this new issue begins, we find out it was actually Tyr, aka Thor's oldest brother, aka Odin's firstborn son, who's currently living out a sentence in Valhalla. You see, after Tyr betrayed his other brother, Baldur, in Hell, he ended up getting saddled with having to work the halls of Valhalla, bringing dead heroes drinks. Naturally, Tyr thought such a punishment was below someone of his birthright, and because of that, he plotted to escape his fate by liquoring up a bunch of the old mystics so they would tell him of old magics. And tell him of the Røkkva they did. As such, Tyr went to try and claim this amazing power for himself. Unfortunately, he literally could not get through the front door. And because he couldn't fully claim the power for himself, he decided to do the next best thing by waking up old King Od and the Røkkva that was still infecting his body. The very same infection that has now crossed on over to poor King Thor after he tried to smash it with his hammer last issue, and as such has turned him into a raving zombie lunatic. This is very bad for our poor friend Jane Foster, as she has to fight off her friend and try not to hurt him while also trying to protect herself, and a nice bit of visual storytelling too. King Thor's specter of death is way bigger than any we've seen in the story up until this point. In fact, it's so big these two characters are actually fighting inside it right now. Valkyrie gets wailed on a little bit and is forced to remember all of her other brushes with death. FYI, there has been very many over the last couple years, and it's because of that she opts to change her tactic. You see, up until now she's been thinking like a superhero and that she has to fight the problem, but she should be thinking like a doctor. After all, Thor is sick, and as such he needs to be healed. Unfortunately, it's not like she can just hit him with a syringe full of antidote, but maybe she can do the next best thing. After all, she has the all weapon, doesn't she? A weapon that can become whatever your heart desires. And because right now she really desires a way to stop this Røkkva poisoning, the all weapon turns into a branch of ancient elderwood, one that manages to purge the old king and by extension Thor himself. Well, for a minute at least. You see, it's here where things start to get really interesting. You see, all of this was actually Tyr's plan from the beginning. He knew that he couldn't get through the door unless he too had a piece of elder wood, which was impossible because none actually existed in this universe anymore. That is, of course, until Jane literally wished it into existence. In fact, it seems that doing so and the residual effect of stopping the Røkkva infection really took it out of her, because Tyr is just able to grab the all-weapon in its new form right off her. Thor also still seems very much to be under the sway of his evil brother right now and accompanies him to the door, but they don't do so alone. Loki caught wind of all of this and showed up for a full-on Odinson family reunion. And I mean, really, can you blame him? Loki isn't used to being one-upped in the evil brother department. Tyr hopes that with the all-weapon and the information that he's gained from the fallen King Od, he can do what no one before him was able to do, and that is actually take control of the anti-life that is the Røkkva fully completely, officially making him stronger and more of a god than any of the family that disowned him and cast him out as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Valkyrie Jane Foster issue 9, everybody, and I gotta say, I enjoyed this issue a lot more than I enjoyed the one that preceded it. It's a lot more creative, a lot more visually interesting. Having Tyr actually fully promoted to a big-time villain of an arc is actually pretty smart, and he fills the role quite well. I also like the extra lore that they've attached now to the all-weapon, that it can literally become whatever you need it for any job that you're currently working on, which means it could potentially be anything. At first, I wasn't feeling this story arc because I thought it was a little repetitive to go back to the Asgard well for a Valkyrie story, but I must say they've won me over and I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Overall, I'd give this an 8 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.